So I think we've been talking a lot about the stuff, and the stuff is important, don't get me wrong. But as important as this stuff is, it's the feelings that are a lot harder to work through. And I think that, like you said, there is a lot of anxiety surrounding this transition, but keeping in mind that at the end, it's all going to be worth it. I remember telling myself, like the first few weeks of seminary, when it wasn't all like sunshine and rainbows and roses, like it's going to be okay. Like you pick this for a reason. You pick this place for a reason. You're here for a reason, and it's really hard. And when packing, tell yourself that too. I'm doing this for a reason. There's a reason why I'm doing this, and it's going to be worth it. And yes, the anxiety is stressful, and yes, I'm going to miss my family and my friends and my bed and my room. I'm going to miss all these things, but what I'm doing has a purpose.
Hey, I'm Esther, and you are listening to On Your Own, the podcast for Jewish girls living away from home. Each week, we bring you an inspiring person or message to help you confidently navigate life on your own so you can achieve real growth and independence and take ownership of this foundational stage of your life. For additional resources, tips, and to stay up to date on future episodes, sign up for the On Your Own newsletter, linked below in the description. Looking forward to spending some time with you today. And now, to this week's episode. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do, what Ready.Set.Sem is, what your mission and your goal is with it?
Okay, sure. So Ready.Set.Sem is an organization based on WhatsApp and on Instagram that's designed to help seminary girls with everything related to their seminary year. So we start with the girls already now. So around like April, May time, about what they need to bring to Israel, what are the real necessities, what they should buy in Israel, what they should spend time kind of preparing themselves with in terms of how much clothing they need. We give them a packing list. We talk about like how the electricity in Israel is different. So you have to get a new curling iron and all the things like that. And then once the girls kind of get to Israel, we help them with kind of what certain things mean at the grocery store and where to go on trips and what to do with your time off and where to go for Shabbos, places to eat, where to get a host gift, and kind of just like every single step throughout the year. And we kind of walk them through that and are there to be the big sister that they have or they don't have and they want.
As someone without a big sister, that's definitely so
I hear you.
so needed. And how did you get into this? Like, what's the backstory? How did you decide that this is what you want to dedicate your time to?
So as an oldest myself, I was a little bit lost when I came to seminary. I didn't know about certain things, certain places, certain items that I needed. And I guess over the course of my year and a half in seminary, I picked up on all these things that I was missing, spoke to my friends, we kind of all pooled our ideas. And then after I finished Shana a couple months later, I was talking to my mom actually. She gets the credit and she was like, you should do something with this. And she went for a walk and came back about a half hour later and I had a logo, a WhatsApp chat, and an Instagram account. And I was like, let's do this. Let's get ready. And yeah, there was kind of like no looking back. Best immediate decision I ever made in my life. Really, really. And every single day I get to help so many girls and it's such a privilege and a bracha.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's so
amazing.
cool that you got it started so quickly. With technology today, you could just like get it going.
It's amazing. It's crazy. It's crazy what
That's really
technology could do.
amazing.
Yeah, thank God.
It's so interesting you say that it's the best decision that you made. Like, why do you say that?
Okay, so I've made a lot of like big decisions. I mean, Baruch Hashem, I got married, so that's a big step. I made Aliyah. Now I live in Israel, so that's another big step. But those are like personal decisions at the end of the day. Like with this decision, I have the ability now, thank God, Bli and Hara, to help so many more people. And like it was worth making that quick decision for. It's beyond my wildest dreams. I never could have imagined that we would have helped thousands of girls at this point. We're only 2 years down the line. Like we never would have imagined the whole team. We never would have imagined that. Like, wow, Baruch Hashem, it's really been a journey, but every step of the way has just been amazing.
What can you give us some examples of, I know I'm jumping almost to the end of like the result, and I'd also love to hear your process and what you're sharing, but like what has been so impactful and special in what you do?
Okay, sure. So I guess here are just some tidbits. We've gotten feedback. We also work with the parents. We have a special group just for the parents. So in
Oh,
addition to our girls groups and our Instagram for everybody, we have this parents chat. And the feedback we've gotten from parents is like, this is my first kid I'm sending to Israel. It's my first girl I'm sending to Israel. And I'm so nervous. Someone just reached out. She's sending twins to Israel. And people are like, I don't even know where to start. And then Baruch Hashem, we help them along the way with everything from what to get, what to buy here, what to order in advance. People's birthdays come up. You want to send something to make your daughter's birthday special in Israel. So what do? We find them special people to work with, whether it's a birthday cake or special food for Shabbos. And we kind of just make these connections that allow these parents to really stay connected with their daughter in a more tangible way than just a phone call and just hearing their feedback where the food was delicious and we never would have found it without you. Thank you so much. Or I feel so much calmer now that my daughter has a packing list that it's only April. It's all these moments that are just like, wow. And that's only the parents. From the girls, it's thank you so much. I didn't even know where to get this thing from. Thank you so much. That place you recommended was amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like I can go to seminary and not freak out, or I can freak out a little bit less because let's be real. I mean, everybody's freaking out. It's a big decision. It's a big transition, and it's hard.
it's something I didn't really think of when I left home. I think I was also too young to notice this. I was 15, that my parents were sending me to a country that they themselves weren't familiar with, which is
Correct.
such a vulnerable thing for a parent to do. And I never actually thought about that before. Like, you yourself also don't know the language, and you don't know where to send your child when they need something. And so to feel like you have that support, English speaking support, is that's amazing. So, before getting into some practical tips, which I'm really excited about, I wanted to know if you can share some of the concerns that you hear from girls, the things that they're worried about before coming to SIM. What's sitting on them, and then how would you help address whatever that is?
Okay, sure. So we could start with the most technical one, which is how many suitcases do I bring? It's my favorite question. Like, how much stuff do I actually need? Like, what if I run out of this? Do they even have this, let's say, like shampoo? Do they even have this shampoo in Israel? Like, this is what I need. And it goes from things as small as like the technical aspects of where am I going to get, let's say someone has braces, right? Where am I going to change my braces and all those aspects to some of the girls are so concerned with it's a new social experience. Many of the girls have never shared a room. Many of these
Mhm.
girls are, it's wild. Many of these girls have never shared a room. Many of these girls have never been away from home for more than a month. So many girls have never even been to sleepaway camp. So this is like a whole new experience. And we really like, it like spans the gamut of everything you could imagine is a concern. And I think rightfully so. Like you're about to come by yourself for a year, maybe with your friends, maybe without your friends. And it's a lot. A big concern we hear is like, am I going to get used to not being with my friends? Am I going to make new friends? Is it going to work? I think the best piece of advice I got from someone else, not from me, I'm not smart enough, is everyone is really coming in a growth mindset and just reminding yourself that everybody else is in the same situation as you. You're all coming in as individuals to a new situation. Some people are going to externally look like they're succeeding faster and some people are not. But at the end of the day, you're all in the same situation and you're all feeling the same feelings. And I think that remembering that is like, you're all in this together, whether or not you see it, every single person is going through it with you.
Yeah. I remember thinking that I was everyone else just like found their friends and figured it out, and like, what's wrong with me? And now in hindsight, it's like, no, everyone was probably struggling in their own ways,
For sure.
externally, internally. This idea of that, yeah, most girls who are going to seminary are leaving home for the first time. For me, it wasn't my first time. I'd already been living here. But for a majority of girls, it's their first time ever leaving
Right.
home.
Definitely.
And it's so interesting you bringing up the suitcase thing, because I'm remembering now that when I was leaving home for the first time, that was a huge question as well. And it's like, okay, I'll pay whatever I need to if I need extra suitcases. It's almost like the four walls of your suitcase become the four walls of like your house.
Oh,
Like,
that's such a good, I love that. It's such a good line.
isn't that true? Like, I remember, I bet I spent years like that. The suitcase was my whole home,
Mhm.
and waiting for the suitcase to come every time when I landed, and thinking like, if this gets lost, my whole life is is gone,
For
because
sure.
this suitcase represents like the home that we're packing with us. So even you saying that that's like the biggest question, how many suitcases? It's like it's a I feel like it's a deeper question.
Definitely. Such a good way to phrase it. And I think that so many girls, that's their connection at the end of the day, at least in the beginning stages of to home. Like these suitcases, what they brought, the things that they have with them, like that's what makes it home. And I think
Yeah.
that, right, the four walls of your suitcase do essentially become the four walls of your home. And they take up so much headspace as you're packing because that, in a lot of people's eyes, that's it. Whatever I bring, that's my tangible connection to home until either I see someone or I go back. So
Yeah.
I guess especially I find when choosing what to bring, it's so essential to bring the things that will remind you of home the most. That's something we really push bringing all the things that remind you of home if you're able to transport them.
It's so interesting because I never really put it together that way, but I know that I used to have these crazy things. Like I would insist on buying nuts in South Africa before I came, bags of nuts. Until like a few years in, I had this realization like, oh my gosh, you know that Israel sells nuts? And I think
Yes.
it's cheaper in Israel than it is in South Africa. It was like this, it was like this, wow. But I used to remember I would make my mother take me and drive me to go get my nuts.
For sure.
Because but you're right, because that for me was bringing a piece of home with me. It represented more than just, you know, just
100%.
that. And you're saying also like the shampoo, it's taken me it took me probably 6 or 7 years to start buying the Israeli brand of shampoo. And
I'm proud. I haven't gotten there yet.
no, no,
We're
it,
like
it might just happen
we're
at some
getting there. We're
point.
getting there.
Because
Yeah.
once you're wearing a shaitel for so long, you do stop
Oh my
caring at
God.
some point. But and I remember when I would go to some people's houses and see these Americans, I would stay for them and I would see their like Hawaii shampoo, like the Israeli brands, and I think, what is wrong with them? Like, how are they using that? Because
Oh my
for
God.
me, bringing my shampoo was it. Yeah, it was the thing that reminded me of home. Such a good way of putting it.
I think at the beginning they start as creature comforts, and then once you kind of like realize that like no, it's how I connect myself to home. It makes you feel a little bit better. Like there're just some things you can't get, but yeah, you
Yeah.
could buy Israeli shampoo. Like it will be okay. I promise. You'll get there. I'll get back to you when I do, but one day I'll get there.
It's a really interesting way of putting it when deciding what to put in that suitcase in that limited space of like what is going to anchor me back to home.
For sure.
And I'm curious, what have you found, because our homes are filled with tons of things that could fill multiple suitcases. What has, in your experience from working with girls, been what are those things that anchor us most back to home that would be important to make sure to bring?
Okay, sure. So the biggest thing that we say is print pictures. I think every single seminary girl shows up on the first day of seminary with a stack of pictures that this thick, and they take out their tape, which I've learned from experience should not be Scotch tape. It should always be painter's tape because the Scotch tape falls off too fast. Um, and they basically create these. My friends had like floor to ceiling collages of their family and their friends and every single thing you can imagine. And like you'd walk into the rooms and you'd be like, oh, like who's this? Number one, it was a great way to connect with other people and learn about
Yeah.
their families. And number two, it was so nice. Like I remember I had my pictures and like I would come back, I'd be like, oh, like my family's hanging on the wall. Like this feels like home. So that was like I think the first thing that we all recommend, all my friends, my family, everybody says like bring your pictures. I've had friends who brought like a blanket that was always in their house, that was always like on their bed at home, a throw blanket, throw pillow. I have a friend who brought like a scent that she like used to spray in her room, like a Febreze style thing. And she had that in her room. Like anything that like just connects you to your bedroom, to your house, to your family. People brought like coffee cups here. I have like a Ready.Set.Sem cup, but I have friends who had like cups with their high school on it, high school sweatshirts, things that like really brought them back and allowed you to A, see who they were, and B, remind them that like this is something that I brought with me from home that like is special to me.
Why do you think it's so important to bring things that remind us of home?
Seminary and I guess moving, so wherever you are on your own, it's a very, I don't want to say challenging experience because I think that it's not always challenging, but it's a very transformative experience and it's a very new experience. And
Mm.
everybody says, Kol hatchalot kasho. Like all beginnings are hard. But if all beginnings are hard, then wouldn't you want to pad your beginning to make it as comfortable as possible in the way that you could make it comfortable? If you know that you like the Dunkin' Donuts coffee blend, and that's going to remind you every morning of what you drank in America, and that's what's going to get you up when it's not so pashut in the morning, or when you're tired and when you're homesick, then that's what you need to get through. And if seeing the pictures of your family are going to remind you that hey, it's okay, like we're apart, but also you're right here and it's okay, and I could call you whenever, it's gonna ease the transition period a lot more than coming with things that don't necessarily remind you of home. That's my opinion, and I think that other people would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, call it cholas kashas. I remember hearing that a lot at all of my
Oh
beginnings.
yeah.
Every time you call home, it's like all beginnings are hard. And there's no kind of way to get around that without going through it. So what I'm hearing is why not go through it with some anchors and some comfort,
Exactly.
things that are gonna help you into that. When you're trying to make this decision of what to bring, what to pack, there's like almost this anxiety from what I remember that comes along with it. Because as we've been saying, like it represents a lot more than just the physical things, which, people brush their teeth in Israel. So like you'll be fine if the way that I felt when I was packing, I remember every time was like, no, if I don't make my mom drive me to this place to get me this thing, I'm like the whole world's gonna crash.
Yeah.
There's almost like this anxiety behind all of it. What advice do you have for that, for navigating the just the underlying stress that comes along with figuring out how to move your life to another country by yourself for the first time?
Right. So I think we've been talking a lot about the stuff, and the stuff is important. Don't get me wrong. But kind of when navigating that as a whole, as important as this stuff is, it's the feelings that are a lot harder to work through. And I think that, like you said, there is a lot of anxiety surrounding this transition, but keeping in mind that at the end, it's all going to be worth it. I remember telling myself like the first few weeks of seminary when it wasn't all like sunshine and rainbows and roses, like it's going to be okay. Like you pick this for a reason. You pick this place for a reason. You're here for a reason, and yeah, it's really hard. And when packing, tell yourself that too. I'm doing this for a reason. There's a reason why I'm doing this, and it's going to be worth it. And yes, the anxiety is stressful, and yes, I'm gonna miss my family and my friends and my bed and my room. I'm gonna miss all these things, but what I'm doing has a purpose, and there's value to why I'm doing it. And I think that if you just try as hard as you can to keep your eye on the prize, which is you're going to spend a year or more or less in Israel, a place that has belongs to the Jewish people and is a place where you can flourish and grow beyond your wildest dreams, it's going to be worth it. You just got to get there and you have to start kind of plowing through. And then you look back a couple months later and you're like, wow, it was worth it.
I wish I had that in my ear when I was packing.
Same, same.
Oh, I hope that everyone listening can just really can make that a little mantra that they can play on repeat. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be okay. You're doing this for a reason. Focus on the purpose for why you are packing up. You're not being kicked out of home, and that's why you're packing up your suitcase. You're choosing to go here, and and the seminary or wherever you are, the college has chosen you as well. You got accepted there, right? You chose to go, they chose to have you, and you're doing it for a reason. That definitely lowers that panic. What are the things that you find girls fixate and focus on the most when leaving home that are actually the least relevant and important?
Okay. I think that a lot of people fixate on the clothing. Oh my goodness. I remember spending hours and hours picking what am I going to bring? Do I have enough sweaters? I think I wore the same skirt with the same variation of skirt for like the whole winter. Maybe two black skirts, like switching off every couple days, every day or so, whatever. I think that at the end of the day, yeah, the clothing is important, but there's no way you're going to need that much clothing. And I think that it's going to be okay. And also to remember that there's so much clothing in Israel that you're going to be okay. Fixating on the clothing, I remember. I think I'm yet to find someone who hasn't fixated on the clothing. By the way, uh,
Yeah.
if somebody out there is not fixating on the clothing, please, please, I would love to know how you're doing that. I'm so impressed. I remember everybody just like, how many sweaters? What sweater? How hot is it in Israel? How cold is it in Israel? Is it really winter? Is there really summer? Like what's the situation? Because none of us had really ever been here for almost a full year where we go through the whole seasons. I remember girls fixating on the shoes, on should I bring all my toiletries from America or should I not bring any toiletries from America and order them all to Israel? And girls fixating on like linens and what their dorm rooms are going to look like. And I just remember being like, it was all about, we were all so caught up in like the stuff aspect of like how much stuff, what's the right stuff, what's the wrong stuff. And yeah, the stuff is really important. I won't like deny anyone that I still packing to go to America. I'm like sitting here debating all the stuff too. So I totally understand where you're coming from. That's probably the biggest area that people are just like overwhelmed by and just stuck in. That's really like most of the deliberating is in that area, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had that experience. And now, as I was mentioning before, I have my sister. The first thing she said once she got in, how many button-down shirts do I have? And
Oh,
like that's the first thing. I wonder if it's the same with boys. I actually wonder.
that's a good question. That's a good question. I wonder. I think probably, but like we would never guess. We would never guess. I have no.
Yeah,
There's no way to know.
I'm gonna ask my brother.
I'm gonna ask my husband. I'm so curious.
I understand, at least from the girl's perspective and from my perspective, when I fixated on this, that the way we are worried about like the way we're going to present ourselves in a new environment as women a lot. Like, how am I going to be perceived and accepted in this new place where I don't belong yet? And so it's like, okay, well, if I get the right clothes and the right look, the right makeup, whatever, and the shoes, then like I'll at least have an into the belonging, which I it's a scary thing to be going to a place where you're not yet known and where
Yeah.
you don't yet have a place.
No, I totally agree. I think that I don't think for men it carries the same weight. Like what you wear, how you feel when you wear it, how you're perceived when you wear it. I think for women, you're right. It's a whole nother situation. You could never even like fathom how much we focus on it. And for good reason. There's obviously a reason for it. Exactly what you're saying. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I remember before going to Sam, I was determined that I was going. This is embarrassing. I was going to have the cutest button downs on everyone else's button downs, and I was very very serious about it. and, and I came with like all these different creative button down shirts because I thought that like if I could create the perfect wardrobe, I would be able to set up almost the perfect year in advance.
I
I
like
think I
that.
did have that like perfectionism mindset about it. It didn't work out that way. I had a very hard year in seminary. And the button downs didn't help me. Maybe, and in a way, it might have even intimidated people because I was like too put together at the beginning of Sem.
Mm,
Like I remember someone being like, "You're wearing a belt?" Like I was wearing a with a belt. She's like, "You're wearing a belt?" Like whoa. So it's interesting. I'm just like I'm enjoying reflecting on the way that I was
yeah, for
thinking about
sure.
these decisions. But I remember taking that very seriously, making sure the first thing I did when I got there was to get Blundstones because that's what everyone got. It was like
Yeah.
the first errand that I did. And so I'm gonna come back to that question. I asked you what's the thing that girls fixate on the most. That's maybe the least like important. Let's flip it also. What's the thing that girls don't think about enough that's actually very important for them to be bringing or to be planning in advance?
Okay. I think honestly, your resilience, and I think a lot of girls like we focus on the stuff, but we don't necessarily focus on the emotions. I think that focusing on your resilience, that like it's not exactly like you said, it's not always so easy. I think a lot of girls come in expecting this like picture perfect year. And I guess mentally preparing ourselves, I had this too, where you prepare yourself that it's not gonna be not every second is gonna be perfect. Many seconds are gonna be complicated, actually. Sometimes hard. I think that focusing on that and focusing on preparing yourself that it's okay if not every second is perfect. And how am I going to get through the minutes that are not perfect? And how am I going to take care of myself when I find myself struggling with different feelings and different emotions? It's not all about preparing you can prepare yourself physically from today to tomorrow and it'll make a difference or it won't make a difference. But if you're not prepared emotionally and mentally that this is new and this is going to be not as simple as you thought. And it's going to be spectacular, but that's the overarching picture at the end. I think that will give girls a little bit of a better transition. And also, I think it is more important to fixate on preparing yourself mentally. Like, could you imagine if you had thought in advance that your button downs, I'm sure they were great, but like, can you imagine if you had also realized that like I'm a perfectionist also. So if not every second is going to be perfect and that's okay. I think that would have helped me tremendously.
Yeah, 100%. We put so much expectation on the 9 months of seminary,
Yeah.
and girls are talking about it, hearing about it for years already before. And, you know, when girls come back, let's say at the end of their seminary experience, they're excited and their eyes are shining, and you expect that you think that that's how they look the whole year. And then when you get there, it's like, wait, why isn't it all perfect like I thought?
I think it's also important to remember that nothing's wrong with you. Like, I remember the first time I was in seminary, I was like, this is not perfect. I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, but everybody comes home and it's the best experience. What's
Yeah.
wrong? And then hindsight is 2020. So I got past it a little bit and I was like, right. So I needed that. Like, they're all baby steps along the way to get to the big shining eyes at the end. But you kind of have to remember that it's okay and there's nothing wrong with you if not every
Yeah.
second is absolutely perfect.
Yeah. I struggled with that. I thought that I was the only one. I struggled a lot socially in seminary. I didn't come with any friends, and I really just struggled to find my place there. And I remember thinking that I was the only one who was struggling. And now looking back, I'm thinking like probably half the girls there were, and if I just like made a group of all those people,
Oh,
we'd all have friends. But I really truly believe that I was the only one going through that.
yeah, I definitely hear you. I think for so many girls that's you kind of get into your own head and as I said like it's so important to remember that everybody whether or not you have more friends or less friends or knowing nobody everybody's coming into a new environment and that kind of levels the playing field at the beginning that everybody's coming in and most almost everyone is coming in looking to make new friends and to broaden their horizons. But everybody's coming in, and yes, some people it's going to look like they adapted in the first 5 minutes, and there are going to be some girls who it takes much longer for. But you're all in the same situation, and you're all going through it together. I guess I don't know. Once I realized that, that made me feel definitely a lot better. That we're all in this together. whether or not I have anything to do with you. We're all going through it together. And that kind of made me take a deep, it was like a big sigh of relief for me.
Yeah. You used the word resilience. What do you mean by resilience, and how can a girl work on cultivating that before she comes?
So, I mean, I'm going to try my best. Resilience I view it as like overcoming a challenge. So, coming to Israel, there are a lot of challenges. What I mean by challenges, different experiences that are challenging. So, taking a bus. Most girls have never taken public transportation. If you have kol kavod, I had never taken public transportation, maybe the train once. I came here and I had to like get on a bus. That was crazy for me. I remember being like, I'm never going to get on a bus. I'm just going to walk everywhere. Then I learned that you can't walk to like Ramat Beit Shemesh, and that was it. I had to learn. Grocery shopping. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know how good your Hebrew was when you got here, but my Hebrew was a disaster. And I was like, I have to read this label. Baruch Hashem, I don't have any allergies, but my husband does, so I've had to learn this over time. Like, you have to learn how to read labels. It's important to know, like, if you're buying buttermilk or real milk. You could ask all my seminary friends. I don't know if you do this. Every single person buys buttermilk by accident, like the first week here. It's just like a classic story. And these are like challenges that like they're not necessarily challenges, but they're challenging. And I think that it takes a certain amount of resilience and stick with itness to kind of just get
Hmm.
through. Like, okay, I bought the buttermilk. Next time I'm gonna have Google Translate open, or I'm gonna ask somebody what the milk is, or let's say you don't have a smartphone. I'm gonna ask somebody how to get to this place, and you kind of just have to plug away at it, and it's hard. It's really hard. But at the end of the day, you'll learn how, and when you buy that milk by yourself for the first time, you will feel fantastic. And how to cultivate that at home, I think it comes from learning just how to get through things that aren't perfect or that aren't necessarily your way. A lot of girls are very good at, yeah, things don't go my way, so I bend. Like, I'm flexible, I can figure it out. It's about flexibility, cultivating flexibility. Okay, the schedule changed, like, I can do that. Okay, this is not available, I can figure it out. It's just creating that, like, I can figure it out. I am capable and I will figure it out. An attitude of capability. I think that's probably the best way to prepare yourself, right? I'm capable of learning certain new things. I'm capable of taking a bus. I'm capable of understanding Hebrew. I'm capable of saying, how much does that cost in Hebrew? Whether that's by memorizing it or practicing 100 times. It's reminding yourself that you can do it because everybody can do it. Everybody can. I promise. You just have to practice, but you'll get it. And I think that's really important.
So knowing how to get through the hard thing without just giving up.
Yeah, that's a much cleaner way to put it. I think a much simpler way. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that based on what you said. So very interesting. Very interesting. I like how you explained that.
Did you have that? Did you find that like when you came, there were just moments where you were like, I can't do this?
Yes, definitely. I came to a high school that was a Hebrew speaking high school. I didn't speak a word of Hebrew. It's interesting though because I do think that like maybe from my parents somehow instilled in me what you're describing as resilience, like this belief in me that you could do it. Like we trust you, we believe in you. So I think I had some of that even from that very young age. But I remember, I mean, walking into the classroom, and I thought before I left home that people in Israel spoke English. That's what people told me. That people in Israel, like
Yeah.
everyone in Israel knows English. So I really believed that. And then I came in, and I was also in Sfas. I feel like in Yerushalayim, people know English maybe more than in Sfas. Nobody spoke English. Like my teachers didn't speak English. My classmates didn't speak English. I was with a group of other English speaking girls, which I mean, otherwise I don't think, yeah, no, there's some challenges that I was just not. But the other girls in the class, but I did have this mindset of like, okay, I'm going to learn Hebrew. I did. And I think it's what got me through it. I do think so. It's so interesting because I was just on Shabbos reading through I sometimes on Shabbos when I'm really out of books, I'll open up my journals because I have a bunch of them. And I opened it up randomly to that first year when I left home. And I do think that there was this attitude of like, yeah, things suck and they're really hard, but I know it's gonna get better.
But what you're saying is the best idea. Journaling to everybody out there. I have my seminary journals trying to option bet. It was that was like pour your heart and soul, and you're like, this is what I'm going through. I don't
Yeah.
know. I I will say though
Yeah.
with journaling, I don't know if you're a big journaler, so I'm not. But I have friends, and we were all talking about this. We all still talk about this. Like, was it worth journaling? I remember some girls put so much pressure on themselves, like I have to document every second, and some
Mm.
girls were like, I'm gonna do it when I feel like it. I wrote every day or every couple days, but some days were like, this is what I did and this is what I ate. And some days it was like, and this is how I'm feeling, and the world is like collapsing in, but like, I just need to share this. And I remember just, yeah, I recommend. I was never a big journaler, and seminary kind of put me onto that. And I don't know if you journaled forever or not, but I felt that like that was probably one of the best things I could have done for myself.
I really like what you're. It's so interesting you're saying that there is this pressure that I have to document that can come along with
Hmm.
the journaling. I remember that people like, oh, I have to get in. Like, that's so interesting. I personally, I've always had this. Maybe that's why I've been able to keep it up. I've been journaling since I'm 11, so I've got like 8 or 9. It's my pride and joy. They sit in the back of my cupboard, and I just like
That's so
pile up.
cool.
But I've never had like a practice, which is interesting. I've never had like I have to do it every day. It's almost more like when I remember, when I feel like it is always there, and I've always picked it up when I felt like I needed it, which maybe is what helped to be consistent. But I do so relate to that feeling of like if I don't document this, it's like gonna slip away, and I'm never gonna remember it. And in a way, you might even be losing out on the day-to-day experience of things if you're like
Definitely.
obsessed with making sure to take a picture of everything and
Oh
document
my
it and
gosh.
remember to write it down. Yeah.
Right.
But journaling is, if anything, just entertaining for your future self. Honestly, it's the best thing. I was reading now, it's 10 years ago, 15. I'm reading what I was writing and I'm just like, oh my gosh, laughing at myself, how I took things so seriously and how I just, it's so
Yeah.
entertaining. And sometimes it's so helpful to just get this appreciation for how far you've come.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Now I feel like I have to go read all of mine, but like,
Oh, go read
I
them.
just,
It's so fun.
I remember we were talking, my friends, not even my friends and I, my mom and I were talking before I went. She was like, okay, so there's obviously a pressure to document, but like, what would you want to do that you'll be able to look back at? So, or any, I don't know if you ever heard of the app 1 Second a Day.
No.
So it's this app, and basically it allows you to take either a picture or a video. It's so cool. 1 second, 1 second clip or a 1 second picture. And I have a picture or a video from every single day of the entire year. Yom Kippur, I used a picture of a Moxer. I did a Moxer cover, like the Yom Kippur, and that's how you know that day was Yom Kippur. And Rosh Hashanah, same thing. And oh my goodness, I still have it on my phone. My seminary like made a, most seminaries like make a song at the end of the year. I put it to like the song, and like I look back at it all the time. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's 1 second of every day. Obviously, it's a faked second in some sense because it's a picture, but it's really cool. You like get kind of like a time capsule. That's my biggest recommendation. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I still love it. It was so fun.
That is so cool. Okay, 1 second a day. And I mean, anyone could do that.
Yeah, it's 1 second. You could do anything for a second.
That's amazing. And then you
Oh,
really have that whole experience bottled up into one.
yeah, it's awesome. You could watch your whole year in 3 minutes and just be like, whoa, I did that.
Maybe I should do that now, just even though I'm not in seminary. Just because time feels like it's flying so fast sometimes. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
what even happened? Like, was I even awake for the past week? Like, where did
Oh,
it go? When it comes to what to bring and what's important, I know that you mentioned that there's like a different voltage, for example, things like that.
mhm.
Like, what are things that girls should know about coming to live in Israel? What to pack, what to be prepared for on a physical level?
Okay. So I have two lists. I have the what to bring and the what to not bring list.
Mm.
So I feel like someone gave me the what to not bring list, and I was like, yeah, I didn't follow it and I totally regret it. So looking back, everyone, follow the what not to bring list, what to bring. The biggest thing here, I'm sure I don't know if your South African voltage is the same as Israeli voltage, but I remember I
Yes,
got
it's the
here.
same.
Oh, you lucky people. When I got
Yeah.
here, I was like, shoot, my straightening iron doesn't work. That's great. So I had to go out and buy a converter. So converter is like That's like the little piece that you plug your phone into. Then there's a transformer. It's like a block. And I needed one of those. So I learned that I probably should have like figured all this voltage stuff out before I came to Israel. So
Yeah.
hair tools, yeah, you have to make sure that your voltage matches. Obviously, we explain all this on our Instagram and our WhatsApp chat because it's like a little complicated and a little bit technical. But then there are things like a sleep sack. So if you never heard of a sleep sack replaces a whole set of linen in one pouch about this big.
What is that?
It's basically a sleeping bag liner. Imagine like a paper thin sleeping bag. So it flips over your pillow. It has like a hood for the pillow. And then it lays out in a sheet with a zipper that opens that you could wrap around yourself. So now you slip into the sleeping bag, you zip it up, and then you would put the hood over the pillow behind you. And then you would just put a duvet on top. So now you don't need a sheet, you don't need a duvet cover, you don't need a pillowcase. You're done.
And this is for when you're going to people or to Shabbatons where you'd have no idea what you're sleeping on.
Or when you're told bring your own linen, it saves you so much space. Yeah, my friends all had them and they were like, Ariella, what? Where's your sleep sack? I slept inside a duvet cover. I made my own sleep sack. I don't recommend buying a sleep sack. It's worth
That's
the
brilliant. I've
$20.
never heheard of it before.
It was so cool. Oh my gosh. My siblings have like, everyone's been indoctrinated. Like, you must have a sleep sack. It's the best. It'll change your life.
Okay, so sleep sack. This is just clean, hygienic, your own linen wherever you go because you're going to be going to a lot of random beds.
And the beauty is that it's so small. Just wraps up in a little pouch and you're done. Saying what else to
Amazing.
bring? I remember not realizing like, I didn't realize that the winter was actually a winter. You need a winter coat. You need rain boots. When it rains here, I'm sure you've picked this up because you've been here. It pours. Oh my goodness.
And the drainage systems here are not made for rain because every year Israelis forget that it rains here. So everything just floods.
Exactly.
Everything. Yeah.
So what to bring? Like there's so many things to bring, but I think what not to bring is much more important. Like
I'm curious. What's that?
do not bring your own shampoo. The water is different here. It does not work with your American shampoo, my friends. It doesn't. I have friends
Really?
who it depends. You have to like check, but they make like Israeli Pantene, right? You've seen like Pantene, Head and Shoulders. The formulas are different. If you were to sit there with the bottles, there are like a few things that are like a little bit different because the Israeli water has more minerals in it. So the shampoo caters. It's very cool. I'm not sciencey, but it's very cool. So Israeli shampoo and also shampoo's heavy. Buy it here. You'll find your beloved Pantene, Head and Shoulders, Argan
Yeah.
Oil. You'll find it all. It's okay.
And it explodes very often in your suitcase, as I've learned way too many times the hard way.
Aish. Yeah. Linens. If you could order your linens ahead of time in Israel, save yourself the wait. Don't bring your pillows. Don't bring your blankets. Save yourself the space and the wait for things that matter to you, like shoes and clothing and things from home. And yeah, definitely buy your linen here. Get a store. I don't know how much storage room your dorm had, but mine had a decent amount, but we didn't have like night tables or things next to our bed. Get like a set of plastic drawers. Don't bring that from America. You can't bring that, but bring that here. And there were like just a couple of things that are like, if you could buy your hair tools here, your straightening iron, your curling iron, buy it here. Why not? Betty, like you know what a Betty Crocker is, right? That's like the pizza maker. I think Israelis call it a mini kitchen.
It's like round and it's like
Yeah.
a toaster situation, sort of.
Yeah. Israelis, I just learned this week, call it a mini kitchen, which I think is cute because you can basically do everything in it. So it's a mini kitchen. You don't have to bring a Betty Crocker from wherever you're from. It's not going to work as well. And I have so much stuff here. I think clothing also, I learned that like I needed a black shirt. I just went out, like, there's clothing here. Baruch Hashem, it's a pretty sufficient country. There are amazing things here that there's such great stuff here. So like don't panic if you're missing something. I remember like feeling super panicked that I didn't have enough. Oh, I needed black tights. I like needed another pair or two of black tights. And I remember being like, shoot, should I have someone bring it from America? And I went to like Geula and I was like, I, I could buy black tights. You can buy black tights anywhere. Everybody, like, we're all from women. We all wear black tights.
Yeah.
I just remember that, like, it's okay. There's stuff here. Baruch Hashem. Yeah, but what not to do? Like, don't schlep the linens. Don't schlep the shampoos. Buy ear. Save yourself the space and the time and the mental headspace of worrying if Navach, your shampoo would explode on your clothing. That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's happened way too many times. You'd think I would have learned my lesson. That's so interesting what you said about the water. I'm like still stuck on this that they changed the formula of the shampoo of the same company to match the water.
It makes sense. Meaning it's the I remember people with keratins. This was like a big conversation with girls who are coming to Israel who have keratins, and they always ask, "Is there like keratin shampoo?" I'm like, "Or should I bring my own?" And I say all the time, Superfarm, they have a bunch. Like it's designed so that your keratin will work. Like it's designed to help you here. Your American shampoo is going to help you, but the water's different. So you need stuff that works with the
Yeah.
water.
Is that why people's hair sometimes like falls out in Israel? Because they're
Yeah,
using the shampoo from the wrong. That's
I think
why?
also that, and also it takes a little bit. It takes a month or two for your hair to remember to like figure out that it's getting different minerals. So you will like you're not going to lose all your hair. I promise you're not going to get a bald spot. But like, yeah, I remember my hair like I was like, oh, this is like a little bit more than usual. Okay, but yeah, I feel like now that I'm used to it, like it's great. Like you get used to it. But yeah, that's why people's now that's why people's hair will change a little bit over time. Yeah, it's crazy.
What else like should we not be packing?
A lot of the same thing. So don't bring a lot of black skirts. You don't need that many. You're gonna do laundry. That was, I think, a big like realization for a lot of girls. Like you become I guess when you're on your own, you do essentially become more of an independent adult like person. So you realize that, oh, I do laundry, so I don't need 12 black skirts. I need five, maybe a few other pattern skirts, whatever like speaks to you and is your style. But you don't need 30 sweaters. I promise. Um, yeah, I remember like what are things you don't need? A mini fan. I think most seminaries have air conditioning, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
Um, unless you're a particularly hot person, but if you are, you'll probably want an Israeli voltage fan. So you might not want to bring that from home. Um, I People brought crazy stuff. Someone in my dorm installed a hanging chair, and I was like, that. Yeah, she bought that in Israel. Don't worry. But I remember people being like people brought all their makeup. You don't need all your makeup. That's a lot. Like you have to remember that you don't have space for a lot of things, and you're not gonna use as many things as you want, right? You get up in the morning, you roll out of bed, you dive, and you go to class.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was a lot of paring down, realizing that like I don't need as much. Even when I got here, there were things I never used the whole year. I don't
Hmm.
know. Did you have that? Like stuff that you just never
Yes,
touched?
for sure. You know what I'm thinking now of? What about jewelry?
Oh,
Should girls
such
be
a good
bringing their
question.
jewelry?
Okay. So what I recommend is my favorite thing is if you're not going to wear it every day, then it shouldn't hold like real value to you. So if it's something you're going to be leaving in your dorm room the whole week and then only wearing on Shabbos, I would leave it at home. What I do find though is like there are amazing websites. Like we send links for these all the time to these companies on Amazon that sell beautiful, inexpensive jewelry. It's all gold plated if you're sensitive, whatever. Buy if you're a person who likes jewelry, buy 5 or 6 pairs of inexpensive earrings and have a good time. Same with necklaces, rings, bracelets, whatever makes you happy. But bringing expensive jewelry, if it's not going to be on you at all times, I don't know. There are enough like crazy stories of some people like they can't find something Nebuch or it's just better be safe than sorry.
Wow, this is all so interesting. Now I'm like, why did I schlep my linen from South Africa? All of it. And you know, the truth is today there's you can order things that like you couldn't when I moved here 10 years ago. Like Amazon never used to deliver here 10 years ago. Now you can get things on Amazon delivered to your door in Israel. Like if
Yeah,
it says free shipping over $50 and make sure it's under $75 so you don't get all the customs. So keep it under $75, but you can get things even sometimes from America while you're here.
for sure. I think there are tons of also like there are a million services that all do this amazing thing where they deliver your linen, your storage solutions, whatever you're looking for, to your dorm before seminary even starts. You get off the plane, box is waiting there with your name on it. Boom, your linen,
That's
everything is
amazing.
ready for you to do. That's it. Like, how
Amazing.
cool? How cool is
That's
that?
so cool. And how cool is that you have all these links and tried and tested products, which I think is just so amazing.
Thank God.
So that
Thank
girls
God.
don't have to like guess and get stuck with things that are just awful. You've tested these things out. You know what works, what's been popular. So I think that's super super helpful when you're trying to make this decision and you go online and there's a million options and you don't know which one to
Hmm.
choose. And then you could get, when you're anyway stressed about leaving home, you can fixate on that because you're looking for something to obsess over. So I think that that is just awesome.
Thank you. What's nice is we get to continue that when they get here. So they get here and it's what grocery stores should I shop in? Or here's this is most similar to this yogurt that you like from home. Like we do it, we carry it through the whole year. So you want to find that iced coffee that tastes most similar to Dunkin' Donuts. No problem. We got you. You want to find that you want an amazing restaurant to go out to, like a place to go out for your friend's birthday, activities that are tried and true. Or I think almost everything we recommend at this point is personally tested. And I could
Yeah,
vouch for it because why would we recommend something to you that we don't like?
that's so great. Is there anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have?
I think I think the only thing I would want to like address is like what do you do with all your free time? I remember coming to Israel, coming to seminary and being like, "Oh, we have this night off." Um and I think that like something that's I guess overall important is obviously like we recommend a million activities that you can do, but I think one of the biggest things that I learned was to like take my feelings and like capabilities into account. So if it was time to go out, right, we had it off for the night, and I like was not in the mood, it was okay. Like Gula, Meishar, and Ben Yehuda, the restaurants were all going to be there next week. But I remember like we speak to so many girls about this. Like there's like a pressure to go out and a pressure to do it. And people are on different budgets and people spend different time. We talk a lot about girls ask us all the time about budgeting and how much money, and parents ask us how much money should you bring. Everybody's living a different seminary experience. And I think that like what's really important to remember is like it's your experience. So just because everybody's going out doesn't mean that you have to go out. And if you're a type of person who's a homebody and you want to stay in your dorm, that's okay. I just remember like waking up to that realization of like it's okay that I have homework to do or I'm tired. It's okay. I don't know. Did you a big thing for seminar girls is sleep. So many girls say like they don't sleep the first 3 months and then it catches
Yeah,
up with them. Sleep,
yeah,
sleep, sleep. You're a person.
yes.
Make sure you sleep. Make sure you take care of your mental health. If you're the type of person who needs to exercise and eat well, exercise and eat well. Because this is about making the most of your year. And if you're not at your best, or at least your functioning capacity, it's not going to have that same oomph to it. I think that that's a huge factor in what makes or breaks your year is making sure that you are healthy in whatever that way is for you.
That is so, so important. Thank you for sharing that. I think because I left home a few years before, those were certain things that I knew, like my boundaries, like I need sleep. But I saw around me so many girls just crashing from the lack of sleep or from just that constantly needing to go out. And I always had that dilemma of like the peer pressure and like if I don't go out, I'm going to miss out on the opportunity to meet new girls while also knowing that I just need to stay. I need my space right now. It's so important. And you saying that the restaurants will still be there next week. Like, things aren't just going to disappear if you take the time you need to take. And hopefully you'll enjoy them more when you show up to them properly. I end off with a question, which is a theoretical question that if you could go back, and I know that you really relive this more than most of my guests, to that first year where you left home, and you could share just one piece of advice with yourself, what's the one thing that you would share?
Such a good question. I never imagined that I would get to stay forever in Israel when I came. So I used to tell myself, Ariella, like, you have to make the most of it because you might not be back here. Now I tell myself something else. So I think what I would go back and tell myself is, Ariella, it's not going to be simple. It's not going to be simple. It's going to be new and it's going to be scary and it's going to be challenging. And these are things that you've never even tried in your life. But just remember that you can get through it and be the best version of yourself while doing it. Not the best version of anyone else. Be the best version of you. Don't compete with anyone else. Everybody's growth is different. Everybody's capabilities are different. The only person you can measure up against is yourself. And I think that if I could have kept that in mind my whole year, reminding myself to measure up against myself, evaluate how much I was growing in my own personal life, evaluate how I was developing and how I was making the most of my time in relation to only me. I think my year, far from it was wonderful, could have been even more fantastic.
I really hope that every single girl coming to seminary this year can get a hold of you, hear what you have to say, because I do believe that their year will be different. So thank you for what you do and keep it up. And I can't wait to share all the different chats and Instagram and packing lists with everybody.
Thank you so much. This was so, so, so special. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of On Your Own. If you like this episode or think it will be useful to someone else, please leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. I would love to connect with you. If you've got any questions, feedback, or ideas for future episodes, you can email me at onyourownpodcast@gmail.com. See you next week. And in the meantime, happy adulting.